Hi, this is going to be a video about the Cornish Cross meat chicken. Finally have some time to do a complete review all the way from the time you get them as 1 day old chicks all the way to butchering. To start off, the Cornish Cross chicken is the infamous meat chicken that the food industry uses, and like I said in an earlier video, if you ever seen any documentaries about mass factory meat production and they're talking about chickens, you're gonna see this chicken that they're using. And the reason why it's a special hybrid cross of chickens, and it is bred to be ready for butcher in 6 to 7 weeks. And it is so overbred that it lost all its natural instincts to run around, to scratch and pack for food, to dust bathe. The only interest this chicken has is to eat constantly, to the point where you actually have to control the food intake because it has no control on its own. Once you get the chickens, for the first 7 days, you let them eat whatever it wants to eat. You always have free choice starter feed available to them. And then after 7 days, you're changing the routine where you keep food available for 12 hours a day. And then at the end of the day, you remove the food. You still let them have access to water all the time, but no food. And then in the morning, you give them access to food again. As opposed to other meat chickens that I've done that are organically raised, like the Freedom Ranger or the Red Ranger, you have to, throughout the day, refill their food several times because they just go through so much. And that's the reason why they grow so much faster. And if you would let them eat throughout the night, they're very likely to actually die from overeating, from growing too fast in a way that the organs cannot keep up with the growth. And throughout the entire process, there's also a much higher chance that you will have some loss because they're a little bit more fragile. But here's my experience. The one thing that I noticed about this chicken is, A, it's very friendly, and it is actually not as lethargic as I would have expected it to be. It's actually quite lively. And I've read reports that they are just sitting all the time and that you have to keep the food close. If it's even just a few feet away, it would not be able to get over there, would not be smart enough to get to the water or to the food. But I have not had that experience. They're quite lively, they do sit a lot, but they are capable of running around. And the other thing I noticed is they're not afraid of anything and they're not peckish. I've had a breed called the Red Rangers, and they turned out to be quite peckish. With you as well among each other, they would constantly be fighting. Not so with this Cornish Cross, so that's a good one. Another thing I liked about them is they're very consistent in the growing. So all of them, except for two, were pretty much on track to be ready for butcher after 6 to 7 weeks. I weighed a couple of them and they were 8 pounds for sure. With other breeds, these organic breeds, I would have a few, 2 or 3 that would be hitting the 8-pound marks after 12 weeks, but not all of them. When I did end up butchering them, I definitely felt that they had so much more meat on the bone, especially when it comes to the breast. The breast was almost 2 pounds of actual ready-to-go meat. And with the Freedom Ranger, which is an organic meat chicken, I would probably just get about a pound of meat for the breast after growing it for 12, 13 weeks. Also, the quality of the meat was fantastic. Good taste and very lean, zero fat. What's one of the big negatives about this bird? They're very messy. So you have to be prepared to put wood chips in every day because they are constantly pooping. They get so messy, and then when you are getting ready to butcher them, you will have a bird that is quite dirty. So the underside there will be a lot of fecal matter on it. When butchering, you're trying to be as hygienic as possible, as germ-free as possible. And with these birds, when they're this messy and the underside, their breast, most of the feathers are sort of rubbed off because they are constantly sitting. And if they're sitting in the fecal matter with all that acid, it's quite a lot. But once you're past that stage, once you clean them up and you made sure that they are hygienically clean. So scalding them maybe at a higher temperature, more towards 160 degrees, and really cleaning them really well before you are starting the butchering process. And then you'll be fine. Okay, so in conclusion, would I do it again? Would I breed the Cornish cross again? And my answer would be probably yes. It's much easier. I feel like that the quality of meat is better. I raise them still organically, so they get only the best food, no GMO, no pesticides in the food. It doesn't take as long. I think it's actually cheaper because it's only 6 weeks as opposed to 12 weeks. The feed costs are much lower, even though they're eating more in that time. I think the meat to feed ratio must be much higher. And again, the quality of meat is very nice. So if you're really looking for the best, easiest way to raise your own organic meat, I do feel that the Cornish cross is your best bet. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day.